Why don't we start at 5:07? And Meredith, are you all set?
I am.
Okay, I think we've let everybody in. So the first order of business is Wardsboro Staffing update. So we, at the end of, or during the last meeting, we were asked to find out what the 3, 4, 5, 6 looks like now and what it'll look like if it's a 3, 4, 5. And Donna gave us a written report, and then she also gave us a sample schedule, the updated schedule from 11/1. So Donna, do you want to talk about that briefly?
Sure.
Excuse me. There's not as many people here as usual. Is there a way to put it up on the screen so people can see it, or is that going to cause us too many headaches?
Keep going. I'll go get the computer.
What are you gonna do?
Camera.
Okay.
All right, you keep going. I'll go
You mean
get
the Elmo?
Yeah, my little green camera.
What you doing?
Yeah, I thought there'd be. I know the board members got this. Do the other people have the letter
Yes.
from Donna?
Yes, it was sent to all 5th
Okay,
and
so-
6th grade families.
Yes.
And what about the schedule updated? Did that go to 3 and 4 also?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess everybody should have seen it and had it. So go ahead, Donna. Why don't you just give us a quick overview, please?
Sure, and we'll be glad to reshare it to those that need it. So a letter was sent through our Alma communication tool to thank all of our families for their patience and supportive insights as we navigate this unplanned circumstance. And that the current position has continued to be advertised through School Spring Educational, job searching, through social media. We're good. I think we're good. Platforms. Currently, there have been 2 applicants, and we're moving forward with interviewing. This was last week and today. So we have completed those interviews, and the hiring process committee has been going through the procedure of what that would entail to see if one of those candidates was a successful candidate. As far as the classroom groups with 3rd and 4th graders, and there's a 5th and 6th classroom, they move between the 2 classrooms to receive instruction in math and literacy. The schedule was sent to our families. I can go over that in a little bit. Amanda Jorgensen, our academic support team member and also special educator, is continuing to provide student support and interventions. We continue to have a substitute here daily when there is a sub that can come to our school. During this time, Mr. Kevin Comio, who hopefully I said his last name correctly, I'm sorry, Kevin, who supports the math and ELA groups with Principal Basic and Mrs. Bills, depending on the day. Also, we have social and emotional supports for our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Our school counselor, Miss Nikki, has been available to the students daily. And we have the school nurse that is here for 3 days a week. And Dana Zinzinski, a new hire in the district for behavioral consult. She checks in with us weekly. So recently, families met with Principal Basic and Mrs. Bills to discuss the progress reports and updates in math and ELA skills and goals. We had a very good turnout with those conferences. Our students are following the scope and sequence of our curriculum daily with a focus on multiple opportunities to read and comprehend in all content areas. We said in our letter that if they had any questions, any parents to come with their concerns or questions about the schedule and to talk about their students' education and progress. Those are which are top priority. So our vision mission statement is to educate our students to become inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring global citizens through challenging academic programs. We will provide a safe and supportive environment that will connect our students, their families, and the community while respecting and celebrating each town's local identity. And the schedule is a blocked schedule, Monday through Friday, encompassing both grades 3, 4, and 5, 6. Their morning routines, which includes some math games. We have school meeting Monday. The other days we have morning meeting. We have a writing block for grades 3 and 4. And during that time, 5 and 6 has a math block with Mrs. Bills for the hour. We have specials that are rolled right into those block times. And then at 10:05 to 10:55, we do our ELA curriculum, Wit and Wisdom, with 3-4 while they have a working snack, movement break. And then at 10:45, the 5-6 comes back around 11 o'clock, I'm sorry, because they have a movement break. And 11 to 12 is their literacy menu. And then math for 3-4s from 11:05 to 12. Lunch recess, and then we have back to ELA with 5-6 wit and wisdom, and 3rd and 4th do their foundations with Miss Bills from 1 to 1:30, and they unfold some cursive handwriting and science in their end of day, and the 5-6 continues with vocabulary surge and science and social studies. So, of course, the schedule, there's different programs that come to Wardsboro. We have 4 Winds, we have Spanish, we have some social emotional interventions that may impact that schedule at times, but we adjust that so that they can access those programs.
Okay, so are there any questions for our administrator in the Wardsboro building? Donna? Okay, can you give us an update on the hiring process?
The most I can tell you is that we've completed 2 interviews, and the hiring committee needs to circle back as the day was pretty busy after the fact and following the hiring process. So that's all I have for you right now.
Okay. So you haven't marshed everybody out yet?
We had 2 great candidates come to us, so we're thankful for that.
Good. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah. Donna, do you have a timeline for best case, worst case timeline for us on hiring?
Yeah, we want to, we talked as a team today about this and, moving as quickly as possible. The hope, I had mentioned today that by the end of the week, if not sooner, we would be able to have some sort of decision.
Thanks.
Are you all set, Laura?
I am.
Thank you. So, at the end of the meeting last week, we were up in the air whether or not we should make a motion to close the 6th grade in the Wardsboro building, move them to Dover. And I know that had kind of been a request of the parents earlier in the in this process when it didn't look like we had any candidates. I'd like to hear from parents. Is that something that they would still like to have done now, or is that something that they're okay putting off for a couple weeks until we see how the hiring process plays out? So, if there's any parents that'd like to weigh in, we'd love to hear from you. And I see a hand up, so
Janine? Janine, do you want to unmute?
she looks like she is.
Working on
Janine, go ahead. You have to unmute yourself.
Yep.
She's still muted?
I think so.
Here, I can do it.
That's good on me.
Well,
Rich, once we finish this, I can try again. Once
Okay.
you have a tiny break.
Janine, can you unmute yourself? We can only ask you to unmute. We can't unmute you.
Let's go back.
Okay, Janine, while you're playing with that, we got a Stratton. I don't know who Stratton is. You have to, I think I do, but you have to identify yourself, please.
Hi, it's Allison Young. I'm sorry, I tried so hard to change my name, it's just not taking. I was just wondering if, since it might take a couple more weeks, if we can hear from the teachers who are teaching those to make sure that it's, just so as parents, we know that it's sustainable for them, because that may impact how some of the parents feel.
Okay, well, I as I've said in the past, I'm not going to put people on the spot, but Donna, if you'd like to say something, and if you'd like to say anything, but yeah.
I can speak to the math piece is, the math piece in itself is sustainable. The overall schedule and the staffing, the number of people in the building, and that piece is tough. The math I can sustain because she's picking up the ELA. But
She being Donna?
Donna, yes, is picking up the ELA. But it is a lot.
Donna, do you want to weigh in at all? You
It's a good question, Allison. I'm very, very fortunate to have a staff that is willing to support this precedent circumstance and willing to be flexible and patient. It is challenging. We're here to do what's best for kids, and that's where we're coming from. And if, that means some of the other obligations administratively need to go, they need to go, and we're here for the students. And if we have to do a little bit more time, I hope that Valerie can sustain it. And if she's not, I want her to be transparent to say, hey, this is difficult, but just give me a thumbs up right now. I will do what I can to best sustain what we've put together. And I know some parents have reached out to say, hey, how can we help to, give a break, but it's sticking to the curriculum and getting what the kids need, the instruction. I'm open to any other ideas if you have any or anybody else in the meantime.
Thank you. Janine, can you try now, please?
Is there anything
still
on my
muted?
Is there anything on my part I can?
No. You can't unmute them. You can only mute people.
Maybe she doesn't even realize she has her hand up. It's a shame.
Does the phone work here?
Janine, if you want to call my cell phone, I guess.
I was just going to call
Okay.
the house.
Oh, I call my house.
Yeah, I was going to call the house.
I have a question.
Who's that?
I don't know how to raise my hand on this.
Go
It's
ahead.
Janet.
Who is it?
Who are you?
It's Janet Rivers. Charlie's my daughter over at Dover.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering if it was possible, since it seems like there is, there are applicants and it might be a couple of weeks, if maybe there was a way to bring in tutors that have experience to help throughout. Like, I am a tutor, but in general, there are other people. Like, I would volunteer to come in and help, like, 1 or 2 days a week to follow a curriculum that is, I would just be basically helping with a program that's put in place, which is what I do with my students online all the time. I'm sure there are other tutors around that have if it's a little flexible at first, for a couple of weeks. I don't know. There has to be more than just me that can do that.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Janine, if you can hear, I just called your house. If you want to call back, we can put you on speakerphone. Hey, Mitch, do me a favor. Call your house and tell your wife to either call my cell phone or she's got to unmute herself if she wants to talk, or we're going to move on. Oh, that's why. Okay. That makes sense. If you can contact her and just tell her if she wants to call my phone. Oh, do you have her?
She's messaging me right now.
Okay, well, I think we got her. Thanks, buddy. Okay, bye. She's in Maine, so.
She's having technical difficulties. Her phone says she's driving and she's
Okay.
not, so
Does she?
she's typing something.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
She's,
So, Janine, we're going to get to you. Sorry. Meredith, while we have a little break in the action, do you have everybody who's on TV? Because there's a couple people I just see pictures, and some people I see nothing but people.
The only one I don't have is Annie's last name.
I don't see Annie. Where's Annie?
Left to the T.
Left to the T. Annie, can you tell us your last name, please?
Yes, that would be Scott.
Annie Scott. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. We got you. We just want to make sure you were recorded in the minutes. While we're waiting for Janine, if there's no other questions, does the board have any thoughts? Do we want to just stay in a holding pattern and give Donna another week? And maybe if we have to have a special meeting on Monday, if one of these two people don't work out?
I got Janine's message now.
oh,
It says she was trying to say that she's hoping we can give it a little longer until we get through these interviews before we make a decision to move forward and close the class, is Janine's request.
So my question to the board is, are you folks all good with giving it another week? And then if Donna at the end of the week tells us that these candidates didn't work out for whatever reason, that we can have a special meeting on Monday and move that forward. Go ahead, Laura. This is, I don't know, is like the internet not working today?
something's not.
Laura, can you hear us?
Very slow.
Is that what it is?
Slow day.
Sorry. Can you hear me? I'm mobile.
Yeah.
So, I guess that sounds ideal. You know, we've got the potential for the ideal scenario. My only concern is just about preparation, should this fall through. So, just like to hear from the superintendent about any recommendations he may have about actions we should take, just in terms of time frame. So I'm okay with potentially waiting till next week. Just thinking about the holidays and other things, I just want to make sure that our educational leaders, that's their advice, or if their advice is to take some sort of action in the event of. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. One of the things that some of the parents told us last time was that they're not going to be able to tell us what the good timing was going to be, and I can understand that. So I'm wondering, kind of what Laura's saying is, maybe the administrators can get together and let us know next Monday what they think the best
Well,
timeline.
I think they'll be able to let us know sooner than
Well, even sooner than that, but so we can vote on it at the following meeting.
So, I guess,
Rich, let me give you a couple of scenarios, Rich.
okay,
Scenario one is that we find someone and it's great, and we offer them a job and they accept the job, and then we're just waiting on a start date, right? So we don't know when that will be, but that's scenario one. Scenario two is we found one we like, we offer the job, for whatever reason they don't accept it, and we're back where we started. And scenario three is that after pushing through whatever process is that we don't like any of the candidates, and then we're back to the same step we're in step two. So I guess for me it makes sense, based on Laura's and Dwight's question, is to give it another week, let the reference checking play itself out, let the process that Don is following through with the committee play itself out, and then let's see where we are at the end of this week. Probably is even enough time. We might not know. We might know that an offer's been made or whatever, but the details. I would think we would want to push the person pretty quickly to make a response, if that's the case. So most of the scenarios, I think we would know in the next week, and then the only scenarios we wouldn't are ones that, we don't have anybody anyways, so you're gonna have to have some action. But that could be next week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think the parents are in a better spot now because we know they can at least request tuition to some schools, if not all, that they wanted to. So I think we played all those out. So I think we're in good shape if everybody's okay with that. Laura, you still have Mike.
I do, yeah.
Mike's going. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Mike.
No, Mike's just giving us thumbs up.
Okay, so I am fine with waiting till next week. I'm a little anxious about, drip, drip, drip. So if we don't have an answer next week, I would like some pretty concrete timelines and proposals to come back from the administration on how to proceed. I would like a recommendation from our superintendent on a time frame and how to proceed if we don't have an answer next week.
Bob, is that
Yeah,
fair?
Could be, keep waiting,
And it sounds like either way, you'll need a meeting probably, right? So well, you'll need a meeting to sign on a candidate, but you'll need a meeting to do a next step. So you could this evening schedule a potential meeting, and then by the end of the week, we could confirm whether that needs to get posted.
That would work for me.
Okay. So I've heard from Laura. I got a thumbs up from Mike. Dwight, are you set?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Chad and Kate, are you both good with that?
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense.
Go ahead, Kate.
Yes, I'm good with waiting.
Okay, so why don't we tentatively, if we could do another earlier meeting next Monday, like a 3:30 meeting. It sounds like it'll be a quick, either we know where we have to go or we'll have some really good news and Donna will come in. If she's smiling, we'll know it's okay, and if she's not, we'll know it wasn't good. Does that work for everybody? I don't see anybody throwing anything at us, so I think we covered item number 1. Additions or deletions to the agenda? Yes.
Just let me know when I can.
Oh, you want-
So I can try it again, but it's.
Well, I think we're okay. Why don't we just not mess around with it and then lose everything? Are you okay, Donna, doing it this way?
It's fine.
Okay. Let's, additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, members of the public. There's no public in the building. Is there anybody on TV that wants to speak?
I got a couple things, Rich. Alan Block here.
Go ahead, Alan.
The same old website update. I'm always looking for that until it's live. And the second thing was just I don't know if all meetings are intended to be 5 o'clock. For me, it's not particularly convenient. I don't know if it's an item that we could discuss or if it's a fait accompli, but I want to discuss that too, possibly.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Alan. We do have website update under old business. And yeah, we just have a lot going on. We want to also make it a little more convenient for parents with kids to hear the Wardsboro update. If you look, we were thinking it would take longer than it did, so that's why we were planning on starting the regular meeting at 6. So,
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thanks.
members of the staff? Seeing nobody, old business, playground updates. Bob, I'm not sure, was Greg coming for this, or were we just handling it?
Yeah.
Oh, Greg is there?
Yeah.
Where?
In the middle.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here for you, Rich.
Thank you, Greg. I didn't see you there. You were lost in the sea of peoples.
X marks the spot.
Not a problem.
So tell us, when did we all of a sudden find out that little kids couldn't use this playground?
Well, most playgrounds are not designed for pre-K kids. I would say pretty much everyone in our district is designed, including the one in Dover, are all designed for ages 5 to 12. When you change them to pre-K sized, you lower like slide heights and things like that. So it's kind of the, and there's other requirements that come with a pre-K playground. A pre-K playground is supposed to be fenced in all the way around. So if you would have turned the Wardsboro playground into one, then it would have had to have fencing all the way around it. So it's just some of the hidden costs that way back when you all decided to, jump into the pre-K game that tend to be missed. The Wardsboro playground, Lori and Tammy had talked about it, that there was money earmarked for a playground. Tammy went out and picked it. My role in it was just making sure that it was installed and had mulch and had proper use zones. And the previous playground wasn't for pre-K either, so I didn't really think anything of it until we were asked about it, and so that's kind of how that happened. I have a feeling that in the past they've just always played on it, but I don't know how that works. I don't really know the history of it. All I can give you is what I can give you.
Okay. Well, I think it's kind of a little bit of a shock. Do we know what the pre-K's been doing previous to this? T wants to speak. Who's T?
That is Trisha.
Trisha, you want to enlighten us?
I would love to. So previously, my class was using the playground that had been there for probably 40 years. I'll be honest, I'm not sure the age requirements of it or the age restrictions, but it was, if you compare what was there to what is installed now, it was the slide wasn't as steep, things were reachable by all of my students, and that plays a big role, is that they could access what was there when they can't access what is not there now. Okay.
Thank you, Trish. Hey, in Dover, I thought many years ago when we first did the preschool that we actually had a separate playground for the preschool.
Yep.
So are we good in Dover?
Yes and no. Dover's got the issues. So Lindsay's reached out to me prior to this even and has asked about it. The one in Dover was flagged for quite a few issues with fencing, with handrails and safety things, because it was some homemade kind of equipment, like homemade platforms with ground level slides. There were rocks in there that needed to be taken out. And it's on a bank. So I know that Lindsay in Dover would like to move the pre-K playground and do something different up closer to the pre-K area there, and then to maybe move the gardens to where the current pre-K is on the bank there below. So I mean, good in that you have a separate fenced-in area that gives you the regulation number of square footage per kid, because every kid has to have outside separated play space of 75 square feet per student per pre-K regs. When I was in Oak Grove and Brattleboro and we put a pre-K in, they wanted to actually run, the state came in and told me they wanted me to run a fence right through the middle of our playground to separate the pre-K playground from the rest of the playground. And I was able to opt out of that because we actually had a fence around the whole playground. So, in Wardsboro, there's no fence, so if you'd have done that one, you would have had to fence the whole playground. The other day when I was up there putting the rest of the mulch in, I talked to Donna about doing something kind of where their current, can't ever think of the game, but there's like a handball game.
Yeah.
Gaga pit, there you go, Gaga ball, there. So kind of where that is, if you move that a little bit, you could put an area there and go off the existing, come off the existing fence, and you could probably get a good, 20 by 30 space or 25 by 35 to get over the square footage need. Basically, the way I was going to try to help them design at both schools was based on whatever their licensing is for, that number of students times 75, then let that kind of drive what size pre-K spaces you build for both places. So like Dover's license is for 20, right? So 20 times 75, whatever that is, and we would make a play space that would support the maximum number of kids we would have there.
So is that something you think you can have done for us by budget time so that we can put in the budget?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. No, I tried to meet with Wardsboro and Dover on Friday. It just ended up taking a little longer than I had hoped at Wardsboro, and I had a meeting in Marlboro, so I had to zip down to that and haven't gotten a chance to get back over to Dover to touch base with Lindsay. But yeah, that is my goal.
Okay. Is everybody good with that? So when we start talking budgets, we'll have some numbers to work with and some ideas. And then I think I heard you say, Greg, that you were putting mulch in. So are both the playgrounds now up and running?
Dover hasn't gotten, I believe so. Dover's got a part that they've had to take out of their play structure, and I know their swing hardware hasn't come in yet. But we are all set as far as the mulch and the use zones go at Dover, and we'll be ready to go, as soon as the replacement parts come in.
Okay, and then while we got you going, you want to update the PCBs?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, I just spoke with Josh Robinson from.
Can I ask a quick question on the playground?
I'm sorry.
You can ask anything.
I got two.
I'm sorry, I had my hand up. So is there anything we can do in the interim for these kids that cannot play on the playground at Dover? Not at Dover, at Wardsboro. Is there any thing we can do in the interim?
I mean, I'm not sure what you would want to do. It's tough. A lot of times, a lot of pre-Ks bring in things from home. You ideally don't want to. I mean, I suppose you can't. People could bring in some Little Tykes things and whatnot. You could allow kids to access what they can. I don't know if the swings work for them. I'd have to look into it.
They're supposed to.
But it really is unfortunate. And it's way more difficult than I think we realize, always, the pre-K regs at that age are substantially different, So, and to be honest, I really apologize that I didn't pick up on the fact that we were putting something in that wasn't 2 to 12, but was 5 to 12. So.
Do you want Trisha?
So if we wanted to move forward and ask parents to bring Little Tykes things or something like that, that would be.
We could do some. I would think we could do something like that and give kids something to climb on and play on for now. We could do something as far as I know that the tire structure is still there. We could take like the bottom rung off of it, and so it's a little smaller, right? But it's still kind of something for them to climb on until we, as an interim type of thing. I'm sure we could. What, Trish?
It's not still there, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
It left today, we were just told. Greg, can we let Trisha? I didn't realize. I thought her hand was up from before.
Yeah, sorry. I put it back up.
No, I missed it.
It's so sad for me, that my students aren't in this boat. So I really wish we could come up with a, short-term quick fix for this because it's really sad. I'm not, I get what it is what it is. But my kids have had to watch the playground out our classroom windows be built. They've been so excited about it, and now, we're in this boat. So I just really wish that we could come up with a right now fix for them to add some excitement for the playground for them because it's so important to the developmental, like where they are. And it's just really important. So I know budget season is down the road, so I really would like to see a right now fix for this and for those students.
Just for, again, not to discount what you're saying, Trish, because I totally agree and understand. If your kids were playing on that structure before and it was that old, I promise you it was not for pre-K kids because no structures created then. There were no pre-Ks in schools, so they were playing on one that they shouldn't have been anyways. And a lot of schools did that, right? Like that was the whole thing was the state came out and pushed pre-Ks into schools and everyone thought, oh, this is great. Yeah, we already have playgrounds. We already have this thing. And then people realized, oh, wait, they're not the same. And then it turned into people signed up for things that required large investments and they're, not large, but, larger than they wanted to anyways in their playgrounds. But, I mean, I'm happy to do whatever the board wants to do as far as if they want to say, hey, we want to make an investment in something, but you're probably still looking at I think we had a 14-week lead time on that structure at Wardsboro.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna jump in and say, that even if the board wanted to spend money with this year's budget, you're talking about ordering and installing, you're really talking about spring usage, mid-spring at the best case scenario anyways, right?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
So I think, why don't we do this? Why don't Greg and Bob and work with Tricia and Lindsay and just come up with whatever you can do for us for an intern, and we'll talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Pardon? What?
Ian's passing me messages to pass on. She just said that if we wanted tires back, that they could be brought back, and that there's a sand pile if that's something that they would want. So 2 things that Janine said that they could do.
Can everybody hear Val? Yeah, so we can get tires back and some sand back, and so again, Greg, why don't you just work with the admins in the buildings and the preschool teachers to kind of figure something out to help them out?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then let us know at the next meeting. You don't have to be here personally, just make sure we have a report.
Yep, will do.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Cool. And then you want to do the PCB update?
Yeah, sure. So Wardsboro was tested about a week and a half ago. That went pretty smooth. It's been a little weird having the Monsanto folks follow our Fuss and O'Neill people around. So I think we had they had an HVAC tech there who also was testing the airflow in the building when they were setting up the air testers, and so it was kind of weird. We had a lawyer here from Monsanto, and then a gentleman from a third party airflow testing company testing all the HVAC and the air exchanges in the rooms. And then Dover, we went for 2 days. Basically, it was like 11 to 7, 11 to 6-ish for 2 days there, and got a bunch of testing done. We had there were 3 people from Fuss and O'Neill there, and 4 from Monsanto, and they got a good share of it done. They think it's taking a lot longer than they thought. They think that there's almost 3 full days of testing left, so we're just trying to schedule them out. It looks like it's going to be a couple weeks, and they'll be back to finish up. It's been a struggle trying to balance the 3 buildings between Leland and Gray, Marlboro, and Dover, and getting the additional testing scheduled and the proper time given to Monsanto to give them, for them to okay it. We actually pushed the state, and the state now has a way where they can kind of override it and push out their lead time, because they were asking for 4 weeks of lead time now, not 2 weeks. And so it's been a game, of jumping through hoops and overly communicating things between getting things scheduled, communicating it with the buildings, then communicating it to the lawyers, waiting to hear back from Monsanto, so it's just a time game of trying to get it. So we're hoping that, by early mid-December, we'll have the rest of the material sampling done in Dover.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah. I'm fascinated that Monsanto was there, and it's not something I'd heard before. Is this something that is happening in other buildings, Bob, or?
Yeah, it is, Laura. I was very surprised by it too. Monsanto's folks were even taking their own samples. So when Fuss and O'Neill would be done in an area taking a sample, all of a sudden a guy from Monsanto's team of scientists would go in and take his own sample. And I questioned it. I stopped him for about 2 hours because I was like, hey, I don't have a contract with you to take samples. I have a contract with them to take samples. And they said because of the lawsuit, they're allowed to collect their own evidence. And because Fuss and O'Neill wasn't willing to share samples with them, then they were able to collect their own.
And who signed off on that? Who were you able to check in with, Greg? Did you hear from
I checked in with the district's lawyers. I called
Okay.
Kristen Wright up at Pietro's firm.
Yeah, we're getting excellent guidance from them on a regular basis, and the work that Greg's doing to update them around the timelines in each building and different inspections and testing and doing it with the Monsanto crew. I mean, this has been, I won't say a full-time job, but it's been pretty close to a full-time job for Greg to manage all this in these buildings, and that doesn't even get into some of the air quality testing stuff and the radon testing, which has to also happen this school year. So we're very happy that Greg is on board to help us with this, because it really is a paper blizzard for all this involved because of the lawsuit.
Of course. Thank you. That's really helpful. Bob, can you assure me which other levels of government are aware that Monsanto is in there? Did you talk to AOE? Anyone at the Attorney General's office? Or did our attorney?
I believe this was set up as part of the discovery process. So
Okay, great.
Right, it's telling us that this is all part of the lawsuit. It's part of the terms of discovery. So yeah, the A&R and the AOE are all part of this, as well as Fuss and O'Neill, and the attorneys are all communicating. So yeah, no, it's all in the up and up, but it's definitely, it creates another layer of challenge because these people are wandering the buildings, again, not unsupervised, but collecting things. And the other piece that Greg pointed out to me, which is I didn't really anticipate, when they take a sample, there's a certain level of like destruction they have to do to pull it up. In certain cases, depending on what they're sampling, it's a little scrape here, a little poke here, rip this, cut that. And since they're doing it twice, there's quite a bit of disruption to the physical building as a result of that happening. And that's the part we're not super clear on how that gets remedied at the end. But we'll work with the law office to figure that all out. But that was another one I hadn't really anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is one of the samples when they're doing the paint is they're taking tinfoil and folding it and sticking it against the wall. And then they're taking like a metal scraper and they're scraping paint off the wall, trying to get all the different layers of paint off the wall. They're taking tiles off the wall, getting the mastic behind them and then gluing them back on the wall, taking floor tile up. Actually, in Marlboro, for that sampling, it's going to be so in-depth there that they actually have to third-party coordinate with an asbestos management company because the stuff they're going to be drilling into there is also asbestos containing material, so we have to have an asbestos company there to do the cleanup. And yeah, I was really blown away with just how in depth the testing is and how, you know, I mean, they were in the pre-K classroom literally peeling up a 1x1 tile to take sample underneath it and then having to, you know, glue it back down. It's a lot, and that's just from the state, you know.
So, Rich, I have a few other questions. So, Greg, are you concerned with the testing as it's going on? Are kids in the building? Are they in the rooms when this testing is going on?
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned at all. We worked it out. Tracy and her crew were great. Dave and Helen over there, they were awesome. We worked with them on, hey, what time can we get here? You know, what's the earliest we can get here to have access to spaces where kids are not. We did not sample anything around any kids. We made sure that none of their pictures contained any kids or any, you know, identifying information. No, they've been good. They've been professional about it. It's just been, you know, it's invasive, you know, and I probably more so than I would have realized.
Okay, thank you. And Bob, do we have enough capacity, human resources here with Greg for this process, considering how in-depth it is? Do we need additional staff, or are we okay? Or
I mean, that's something Greg and I have been talking a little bit about. We've taken some other smaller things off his plate and gave some stipends to other people to kind of do some of that work. But yeah, my concern is like how far does this go? What does the radon stuff look like? And you know, what is he not able to get to as a result? I'm not at a place where I'm able to say like we need X or Y at this point, but I've been concerned about it. He and I have talked numerous times. Lloyd Garland has been talking a lot about it in the office. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go, and we'll see how much levels, how levels proceed and what it means and what the mitigation actually looks like too. That's going to be the whole managing some of the projects afterwards could be pretty huge, and that might be a challenge. I'm more just thankful that the SU board, did this move to hire this position quite a few years ago, because I don't know how we would have gone through COVID, much less PCB land and radon land and all these things without having this person, because the workload on Lori and the principals and the superintendent would have been pretty out of hand. So, yeah, money well spent, and maybe more, we'll see. But I think right now we're doing it best we can.
Okay, that's it from me, Rich. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions about PCB land?
Laura, thanks for, Rich, if you don't mind, Laura, thanks for looking out. I appreciate it. It is a lot. I think that when we get to that point where we start to RFP and think about, how big, depending on, how big some of these projects are for remediation and rebuild, I think at that point, then I would probably request for us to do something like bring in a project manager to manage some of that type of stuff, to take some of that off there, especially if we still have, because we still have 3 schools to test. That was kind of what I said to Josh Robinson from Fuss and O'Neill recently was, hey man, I need to get these. I mean, right now I have 3 schools that are all at different levels of where they are testing. Well, 4 now with Wardsboro. And it's like, so they've done air testing, the others are into the other parts. And it's like, if I end up with a couple, 4 or 5 schools going that are all at different stages of testing like that, but I was like, Josh, we won't ever even know what we're talking about half the time. I was like, so we need to get some of these to where we're like, hey, this is done, we're moving that toward RFP. This one's done, we're moving it. So we're kind of holding off a little bit on testing for Newbrook, Townsend, and Wyndham. Those are the last 3 left, so.
Yeah, if I could, Rich, just one more, just a thought maybe for Greg and Bob as you're thinking about this. I wonder if there's opportunity for efficiency, just bringing more capacity in working with the other SUs. And the answer may very well be too complicated. No, there's not, whatever. But, I know that this is a challenge in other places in southern Vermont as well. So if there's something that can be leveraged in terms of expediting or resources, that might be worth looking into. Thanks, Rich. I'm set.
Okay. Anybody else on PCBs? Chad, can you talk about website update? Alan was interested, and also Bob, if you could quickly just talk about this domain email that went out earlier.
Rich, I thought as the IT director you'd be able to help us with this, no?
Yeah, I'll help you.
You'll defer to me, okay. So basically the way I understand this is that at some point when the board began this work, Mark was on the board and he was involved somehow in taking ownership of the domain name through a third-party company to build the website. Now that he's not on the board, now the website is built and ready to go live, the SU IT department is willing to take that on and take over the management of the domain name. However, what we do need, there is a cost to that. There's an annual cost of managing that from the domain name, and it's currently under Mark's ownership. So what he was suggesting is that the board make a motion to transfer, and I have the language that he was suggesting in an email, but to transfer the ownership of that domain to the SU, and then the SU could take it over, pay the fee, and then make it go live. So the website, from what I understand, is ready to go live. We're just waiting on this domain to be switched over to the SU and then managed by the IT department. Does that sound like how you understand it, Rich?
That is.
Okay.
Kate, was that how you also figured it out or thought it sounded?
Yes.
So I tell you what, Chad, why don't you give us an update on the website where we're at? Thank you. And
Sure.
And then
Derek's been. Sorry, go ahead.
and then we'll come back to the motion for the domain.
Okay. Derek's been fantastic in overseeing, what has become, I guess, weekly communications with Edgeworks to put in the last bit of touches. Lori sent me over, a list of edits, which is fantastic. Just one more reason why I wish, hope that we can get the Dover and finish the Wardsboro buildings with their training so that they can make these changes as well. The hangups that I mentioned earlier, as far as being able to access the documents, the historical documents, that is being worked out between Derek and Edgeworks. I know one of the elements we want to make sure is we have a searchable database of our faculty and staff positions so that their communication avenues are easier to find, and that has been taken care of. So it seems to be in this, tidy up and clean up before we go, because we want to have a sparkling product, not just a functional product. So all in all, it's moving slowly but surely to the end goal.
One friendly amendment to that, I think that from talking with the IT department, is that they are not relying on the training at the building level. They're willing to take it over and do that updating with the building staff. That's how I understood that. So that any lack of training of building staff should not slow down the process, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Any questions about website? Alan, you get all your questions answered? Are you still here? Yep, there you are.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Bob, if we just make a motion that the RV domain be transferred to Wyndham Central to be kept for River Valley, will be good enough?
I think so, yeah. His motion talks about the WCSU IT department taking ownership and management of the registration and DNS of RVUSD.net. But I think if you keep it general, you're just like that you guys are approving that the SU take that over from its current registrar. That the costs and stuff affiliated with that would just flow from that motion. I don't think you need to specify all the details that he did with the cost. It's $11.79 or something. So we're not talking about a lot of money.
Would somebody like to make that
motion?
Go ahead, Kate.
Okay, I would like to make the motion to authorize the transfer of the RVUSD.net from Mark Schauber to the WCSU.
Do we have a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Chad. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Is that Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Congratulations, WCSU. You now own our website, our domain.
The proud owner of a domain name.
Bob, just so you can get out, because I know you have another meeting, do you want to do, I'm going to skip a little bit and do the superintendent's report if you would like to add anything to your written report.
I'm actually good, Rich. The meeting I had was actually before this, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, then approve financials. So I believe we tried a new system. Every board member got the financials sent to them from Donna over at central office. Kate, I believe, and I approved them, signed them. I don't know if everybody did or not, but I think the idea now is everybody got a chance to look at them. Are there any questions about them? And if not, they would like us to make a motion to approve pay order number 13 in the amount of $686,083. Be a heck of a liar's poker hand.
Can you repeat that, please?
686.83. Did you get that okay, Meredith?
Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no discussion, would somebody like to make a motion to approve pay order number 13 in that amount?
So moved.
I'll make a motion to, oh, go ahead, do it.
You go. Yeah.
Dwight moved it and you seconded it, Kate. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 I didn't hear Mike. Mike, you good?
All good.
Okay. Appears to be unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. The motion passes. Bob, I just let Lori know. I think that system works a lot better.
I'll let her know. Perfect.
Okay. And then the nursing update. Who's giving that?
I can do that. So, I mean, it's an interesting story, but it's kind of a short version, is that we had some medical need at the Dover building, which necessitated keeping the shared nurse there full-time. And so we went ahead and hired a part-time nurse to cover that time that Wardsboro was missing from that. And so we just wanted you guys to be aware that we were going to be a little over budget on that due to that medical necessity at Dover. We are, it's not a temporary medical situation. So we are going to be moving forward with that as the plan for now. But it is very specific to a particular student, and so we can't really say much more than that. But we do feel it's vitally important to have that full-time nurse in Dover for at least for the foreseeable future, probably this school year minimally, and then we'll address it from that point on. But the part-time one's already been hired at Wardsboro and is working out quite nicely. And as a parent in one of the buildings, and a former student of mine, and is on the call right now. So we're thankful to have Lisa join us in that capacity.
Yeah, I guess we're lucky we hired, at least found a nurse.
Yeah.
You got it.
Very qualified.
Okay. Any questions on the nursing situation? Superintendent's report. Bob gave us a very nice report telling us how much he loves us. He thinks it's a great job. He wondered why he asked for so much money because he should be paying us for this. I think that was in that report somewhere. I don't remember.
Very true, Rich. It is an honor to work for you guys and to do this work. And the one thing I will mention is that at the SU retreat, Pietro gave a great training on open beam law stuff. I'm still waiting from his office to get that slideshow to be able to share it out with all the boards, but I will do that when it comes if you missed it. We had a very long meeting that night, and it was great hearing what all the schools were doing, what each of the director level folks were doing, and all the progress that this district, this SU has been making. And it was very cool. The food was great. The company was good. And so that's everything else should be in the report if folks have any questions.
So are there any questions of the superintendent? Well, hearing none, I'm going to move over to administrators. And Tracy, I'm going to go to you first because you didn't hear me earlier, but it doesn't look like you're in your office because it's green background instead of blue tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm at home.
So you have green at home and blue so we can tell the difference.
Sure.
And I will say, Donna, I know you had a long drive too, but Tracy did Wardsboro great at the retreat, showing your slide
Yes.
and talking about.
Yes.
that.
Thank you, Tracy.
And then as soon
You're
as
very
Tracy was
welcome.
done, I said, Tracy, go home. You had a long drive.
That's right.
So go ahead, Tracy. Do you have anything to add other than what you had in your written report?
Nope. Everything seems to be just what I wrote to you all.
So I'm going to just take the first comment to you. And the little picture you put of the gym floor, and I said something to Greg at the retreat, that gym floor looks fantastic. I hope it's, if it lasts as long as the other one, it's going to outlive all of us, hopefully. So, but it looks really nice. It's exciting to see it finally done.
The kids love it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it does. I can't wait to see it in person. Is there any questions for Tracy other than my comment on the gym floor?
Rach, let me just jump in for a quick second because both of your principals have been dealing with a lot of things in their first year. Obviously, the staffing stuff, we've spent a lot of time talking with you guys about that. But I just want to mention Tracy's been dealing with some pretty extensive investigations, and I can't get into any details, obviously, with you guys at this point, but Title IX is a process to ensure freedom from sexual harassment. And there's been a number of these that Tracy has had to take on, and any one of these is overwhelming. And she's not alone; she's getting support from Jen and other folks and the law firm and so on and so forth. But to be able to do the number that she's doing in her first year, in the first fall of being a principal ever, is remarkable. And I just want you guys to know that she is digging in deep and working hard and going through some tough stuff with this. And she just should be commended as well for her work that she's doing. It's pretty incredible in the first year to be doing as much as she's doing. So,
I commented the first a while ago too because I've been to 2 of the harassment bullying hearings, and unfortunately one of the first meetings we had with Tracy as the administrator, we had one of those, and it's only 2 in a lot of years, so. And then I think Tracy kind of got kicked in the teeth pretty bad with the PCBs, and it seems like there's just a lot of stuff going on. If we won't even talk about how bad Donna got kicked, it's the staffing issues. So I think both our administrators have really stepped up to the plate, and I'm very glad that we have them. We're very fortunate because it could kill lesser people. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, what Rich said. Thank you, all 3 of you, very much.
Yeah, and I know Laura was very concerned with 3 new administrators, so it was, I think we've done very well. At least you didn't have to deal with water issues. We have Greg for that. Because I do think you had a water issue at Dover, didn't you, Tracy?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so. Okay, so thank you, Tracy. Donna, anything other than what's in your report that you...
No, I think just to really support our playground. I wasn't here in that planning stage, and I'm really saddened as like Tricia Clark spoke about the playground not having the pre-K not having access to it. So just trying to come up with some ideas on how we can alleviate their not expected not to be able to access it, and what could we potentially just give to them so that they're excited about the playground just as much as all the other kids. So hopefully we can work around that and make it a positive place for them to be excited about. And I was very happy to the 5th and 6th graders got to go on the field trip with Dover School. It was a really successful field trip. I don't know if I spoke about that before, but they went to the Songus Historical Museum.
Wasn't that when Val came back after a meeting?
Yes. And so we're finishing up on our novel, Counting on Grace, just about done with that novel. And the kids are really enjoying making connections from the text and the place that they visited with other situations that are happening. So it was a really great opportunity for us to join together and be collaborative. So I thank Tracy and her 6th grade teacher at Dover, because this was planned with Samantha Bovat in the beginning of the year, and so we were able to execute that.
Oh, very good.
That's great.
So are there any questions for Donna or any comments? If not, I have one. Under Safe, Healthy Schools, did you really meet with an Officer Trench? Is that his real name?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Where's he from?
You're putting me on the spot. It's far away. Far away. He's our responder for Wardsboro. Yeah.
Oh, so a trooper.
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't ever put officer for troopers. You'll get in trouble.
I'll check on his title name and make sure I have the right one.
I thought it was like a program. That's it. That's all I had. Anybody else for Donna? have, uh-oh. What's next on my agenda? Wait, I lost
The
it.
consent agenda.
We're up to consent already? Wow. Okay, if there's nothing else for principals, consent, we have a lot of minutes. 10:16 regular meeting, 10:19, 10:23 special meetings. Does anybody have any comments on them? Are they all good? Do we need to change anything, or by unanimous consent can we adopt them? Seeing no objections, by unanimous consent we'll adopt them. November 13th is a special meeting. Is that next Monday?
Yes.
Okay, so let's keep that on there. Bob, you and I can talk with Kate and we'll figure out if we need it. And our next regular meeting is November 20th. I believe that's before, the week before Thanksgiving, so that shouldn't, or is it the Thanksgiving break week?
I think it's.
The 20th is the week of Thanksgiving break.
The 20th is?
Thanksgiving,
They should have the entire week off, but I think staff is working a few of the days.
Okay.
Staff has professional development on Monday and Tuesday. Students are off the whole week.
Is there any issue with us if we need to meet Bob having a meeting that night?
Not for me.
Donna and Tracy? Tracy's left me. Oh, there she is. You're good. Thank you, Tracy. You okay, Donna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know it's like we got another 45 minutes, so we plan on adjourning. So does anybody want to recite the Gettysburg Address backwards? Anybody want to make a motion? Yeah, that one, Bob.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:15 p.m.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Laura. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you.